There's another big mass rally of the people of God, God's chosen people, worshiping the Lord under the swastika. It's actually very disgusting once you start seeing how the church, the Catholic Church and the Protestant Church, both were heavily involved in the support and direction of Adolf Hitler and Mussolini. They were always there to support Hitler. Here's the Catholic cardinals shaking hands with the top Nazis and murderers. Here they are in front of their church, shaking hands with Hitler. There's a book even called Hitler's Pope, The Secret History of Pope Pius XII. This Pope Pius XII used to go visit Adolf Hitler. This is when Pius, before he became Pius XII, was the papal nuncio, and he would go and visit Adolf Hitler to make sure that Hitler got his orders correctly. As I said, the Nazis in church, they were big on going to church. The Nazi cross, Christian cross. Here, one of the Holocaust survivors painted a picture of the Vatican Pope and the Nazis together. Also, General Franco of Spain had to bow and kiss the ring. So this is General Franco of Spain with all of his fascist murderers going to the Vatican and kneeling and bowing down and kissing the ring of the Pope. Should tell you something about the Vatican. And all the murderers, bloodletting murderers of the world, gang leaders of the world, they all go and pay respects to the Holy Father. Then they can go out and murder and kill. Kissing the ring of the Pope. Jesuit priest taking up arms against the government. But back to Mussolini and the Vatican Euro-fascism. Mussolini, Vatican fascism, Vatican meeting with the Pope. And here is Mussolini on the right, and the clergy hailing Hitler. Here's Mussolini visiting the nuns. So, as I said, there's so many pictures showing the connection between the Nazi, the fascists, and the Vatican. Vatican priests are always, and in every case, always in the middle of all wars, supporting and promoting tyranny, totalitarian dictatorship, murder, violence. There's just hundreds and hundreds of pictures, of which we only have a few here. There's another Vatican Nazi group called Ustashi. This is from Croatia. And here is the Vatican official shaking hands with the leader of, in Croatia, of something called Ustashi. Ustashi. The Ustashi was a military Catholic group. They were very, very staunchly Catholic, but they were military in Croatia. And here is Adolf Hitler meeting the leader of the Croatian Catholic military. There's the Catholic cardinals, priests, with the Ustashi. There's the cardinals and priests and the government of Ustashi. Clergy, there, all the Catholic priests. Well, who was these Ustashi who were connected directly to the Franciscan order and the Vatican behind the scenes? Well, the Ustashi were, as I said, Croatian Catholics. And there's the cardinal sitting with all the military officers of Ustashi in Croatia. Here they are in the Vatican, meeting with the Pope. And just keep in mind, these guys here meeting with the Pope in the Vatican, Ustashi, Croatian, Catholic, Vatican. There was something called the Vatican rat line. We'll get into that another time. The Vatican rat line was set up by the papacy, by the Vatican, so that when the Second World War was over, the Vatican wanted to get all of their top people, all the top Nazis and fascists out of Europe, so they didn't get killed and put in prison. So the Vatican set up something called the Vatican rat line, in which the Vatican gave safe passage, money, false passports, false identification to all the top Nazis to get them out of Europe quickly before the Allies and the Russians got into Germany. So go look up, go do some homework and research on the word Vatican rat line. That's a very interesting subject. Adolf Eichmann was gotten out of Germany by the Adolf Eichmann, Klaus Barbie, Joseph Mengele. All of these guys were all protected by the Vatican through something called the Vatican rat line. Anyway, the Serbian people were encouraged to show respect and love for the Vatican's Holy Father by converting to Catholicism. So the church wanted the Serbian people, to those who were not Catholic, to convert to Catholicism, and therefore the whole country would be Catholic. And here's the forced conversion of Serbians to Catholicism. They had to bow on their knees and agree to become Catholics. Blessing of the new Catholics that have agreed to become Catholics. Because if you didn't convert, this is what you got. Pictures of Ustashi cutting the heads off of people while they're still alive. They take saws and cut your head off. And then they would walk around showing the head that they just cut off. This. It's incredible, the kind of violence and mentally deranged murder that these Ustashi, that the Pope blessed them so they could cut people's heads off, chop their heads off. Even in the church, we see such grotesque stuff. Here, this guy's going to cut the other guy's throat, and they're holding a plate beneath it so they can take the blood and use it in a ritual. Here, Ustashi is beating non-Catholics in the streets, killing them, leading them up to pits, throwing them in, and murdering them. Then putting them into a hole and killing them. Anybody who didn't worship the Holy Father and love the Lord Jesus Christ and go to and love the Holy Father at the Vatican, get your head cut off with a saw or murdered. No wonder the Catholic Church has become so great and holy all over the earth, is because in Europe, if you didn't join the Catholic Church, you're dead. It kind of reminds me of the Vatican Inquisitions that most people have all forgotten about also. But that's something you don't need to forget about. You better learn about the Inquisitions of the Vatican. This happened during the Middle Ages, early Middle Ages, where they would torture people who were not Catholics. And if you weren't a Catholic and you didn't want to join the Catholic Church and worship the Holy Father and worship the Lord, then they would torture you and put you to death. This is the Catholic Church's real history. This is where this stuff really comes from. Hanging people up and down from the ceiling, tying people up. This is the Catholic